Delighted to welcome onto the How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast, the brilliant, the entertaining Educator, who does things completely in his unique style. And that's why I'm delighted to welcome onto the show, Keith Owen. Welcome along, Keith.
Hey, thanks for having me. I mean, for me, I've been doing education for many moons, and I was lucky enough to do it through L'Oreal slash Redken. I was working for Redken for a long time, so they have a really brilliant way of getting people from not knowing how to do education to being able to go up on stage in front of 10,000 people and do a hair education show. So from something in the classroom in London to Las Vegas in front of 10,000 people. So there's a very structured program for that, and certainly for me, it's given me a massive backbone to my hair education side of things, along with I've trained at Sassoon many moons ago, so I've got a couple of good things in the back locker to be able to fall back on. And I realised after a little while, it's always quite prominent to me in regards to if you're working for a big companies like a L'Oreal or a Goldwell, or there's to name a few, management, marketing, have all got certain things they want to go with, certain things, and sometimes your stars don't align, and they want one thing and you want something else, and you sort of part your ways. And it just meant for me last year, after being with Redken for sort of 20-25 years, it was very much and it's the way it's going with online education. I'm doing it now, so I can't say I'm not one of those people.
So when did the online education, when did that really bubble up? Because I feel like you've been doing it forever.
Yeah, it's definitely COVID, wasn't it? I mean, every bugger was home, bored to tears. I'm going to be a hair educator.
I want to go into that actually, Keith, because I think that is a question that, as we head into this, and definitely want to dive in. Are we saturated by hair educators?
Yeah. I was just going to say, yeah.
Well, come on, we're there. Let's go
I think the challenge I have with it, I think, is if I'm somebody going to buy education for the day, it's like, where do I go? There's so many people out there going, come and do some stuff with me. I do this, I do balayage, I do curly, I do long hair, I do this, that, and the other. And there's such a swathe of people out there, and I think it gets a little unfair for those that are trying to book it, because it's. Yeah, most people, and I'll say it to you, I'm going to ask you actually, you may not say it. If you don't, then I'll write it down on a bit of paper somewhere. Fine, I can't find a pen. I can't do it. You're going to have to believe me.
I'll throw you mine.
So there's three things that people normally want to get when they go on a course. Yeah. What do you think those three things might be, Dom?
Technically?
No, just in general. There's no.
I think they want. For me, I think you want to be inspired with new ideas.
Yeah.
I think you want to, learn something new.
Right. So it happens. I've just generally just written. I put new ideas, new techniques. You can't read my handwriting, but I wrote that down before you actually gave.
So actually, before I said that,
I've written that down.
Because that's why you go and learn things, isn't it? Or you have something that you don't know how to do, or you want to get better at. That's why I go and do a course in editing filmware, doing stuff on podcasts, because I want to get better at it sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's getting inspired and stuff like that. Was a little bit of talk the other day about AI stuff, and you put up a post on your place in regards to that. And
there's been a lot of people reaching out about that.
Yeah, there was loads. It was great. I mean, for me, it's, if I can get inspired, which is great, and courses and seeing people do things can be an inspiration. I think the other challenge it can be is sometimes people want to be the educator. They want to see what you're doing and try and do exactly the same as you're doing. I know I've gone on courses and thought, oh, that's really good. I want to make it exactly the same as them. And forgetting that you've got your own identity and your own way of doing stuff. And that's the reason why people book in to go and see you. But I also think it's getting back to new ideas, new techniques and inspiration. It's such a fluffy... That could be any course that you go on. And I think sometimes as somebody booking to do education, like to go on education, you want to think, what do I want to learn? What is it I'm not getting that I want to get specifically, rather than new ideas, new techniques? It's just too general. So I think when you're booking education or when you're looking at an educator, think about what it is you want to get Is it that I want to know how to do that short haircut so my fingers stay in all the time? Or is it that balayage where they use the big brush and it goes from top to bottom and they splurge it into one colour and the other? Then that's the person you need to book and go and see. Because new ideas, new techniques and stuff like that is just such a random generalisation of things that you can get on any course.
And for me on this, Keith, and it's an interesting point with education. And again, I know me and you are not the type of people that years ago we used to do that. But years ago, I used to love going to Salon International, right? And the reason I loved going to Salon International was because it was the first time that actually, other than if maybe an art team or a brand came to my shoe town that I lived in Northampton, and it was an opportunity to see educators or an art team, and it blew me, and I was just so excited. Now I don't feel that excitement because I feel that it's absolutely saturated in one scroll down Instagram. So how on earth is an educator, and I'm referring to independent hair educators here because I think this is who I want to speak to. How on earth are you going to make yourself interested enough that actually people really want to come and have education by yourself when they just think, I can see it everywhere, and every Tom, Dick and Harry's got an app who's doing haircutting or colouring. Where's the market for you?
So tell me and I'll start doing it.
But is that a fair question?
I think it's a fair question, definitely. I think you have to remember what it is you want to get from education. Do you want to experience where you go somewhere, you're in a learning environment where you're probably more inclined to learn because there might have been an outlay for money to get there. You're physically in a room that's set up for learning rather than in your front room having a cup of tea or a beer and watching something online. Mentally you may not be in the best place to learn. I mean, everybody learns in lots of different ways, and there's lots of talk about that now, but different learning styles and.
So when we talk about you, and maybe what I like our listeners to do, because you can kind of keep this window open with the podcast, and go and have a look on Keith's Instagram, which is at Keith
Owen Education.
Keith Owen Educator. So that's Keith Owen Education. So
All one
firstly, when you look at your Instagram grid, what's that saying about you as an educator?
Me personally, I mean, I think hairdressers make up a load of bloody stupid words at times, and I try, in general, just trying to cut through some of the bloody crap that's out there, and it gets confusing. I mean, I think it's good in some respect. On the flip side, clients remember what it's called. It's a shibba wubba wubba haircut. And you haven't got, you'll go online, find out what a shibba wubba haircut is, and they bring it in, and then suddenly you look at it and go, it's long layers. Okay, fair enough. But, sometimes it's like I said, it's just overcomplicated. Things get too wordy. Things are overthought. And a lot of people are there just to make themselves look good. I think that's one of the big things. I mean, I'm not the best haircutter at all, by any means.
I'm going to stop you there. What do you mean just to look good?
Education, I think, has been something that people aspire to because they think they're the best haircutter out there. And being the best haircutter and being the best educator are two completely different things. Yes, you need to be able to cut hair to a decent level. If somebody in your class has got themselves into trouble and you're thinking, I need to get them out of that and make that haircut work a little bit better for them so they feel more confident about how it looks at the end of it. So you need to have a level of skill to be able to get people directed a little bit more. But you don't necessarily need to be the best one. And I think, a lot of it is, look how good I am, look how neat these sections are. I've done a little bit of a Mickey take on this, where you've got the one section photograph and they just show you that they take their fingers away, you can still see the line of the haircut. I mean, it's like, it's just a little bit showboaty for me.
and I hear you, and I get you, because I think there's a lot of dressing things up to give yourself a sense of higher value, that it shows that you're more technically skillful by glossing things up a little bit, isn't there? There's a lot of people that do that. And actually, we've done a post of yours on TikTok, and it was a clip taken from your live that you'd done in platform, which was brilliant, curly hair, and I can't remember what you said, but we took a clip and it was like snippy. I don't know. It was a very Keith Owen.
Chippy, choppy, chunky, funky, or something.
Thank you very much, like that. You know the post that I'm talking about. And somebody,
but don't make stuff up like I just did.
You know, it was. They just didn't get where you were coming from. And they almost went and then done another repost of that post that kind of ridiculed you a little bit. And I've got to be honest, I was quite annoyed by that because I was thinking, you're not getting what this is about. And, you know, again, that seriousness in the industry, has it become too serious at times?
There's opinions on everything in this industry. Now, I think one of the big things, and whether it's right or wrong, you should do it this way, you should do it that way. And we have to remember, we've all got our own flavour of stuff that we get drawn towards. So things that we think for us is more to our taste. It doesn't mean that our taste is better than the next person. It's just a different taste. I might like Michelangelo and hate Picasso for whatever reason, but they're two phenomenally great artists, but I'd be swayed towards one more than the other. So, you know, I trained at Sassoon, so I just like graduated bobs because that's all I can do. But what I mean, though, but then you just get drawn towards stuff. There's no rules. Art has no rules. Obviously, if a client comes in and go, want the same both sides, and one side's down there and one side's up here, well, fair enough, you know, you could class that as not being right. But the rest of it, if we're all creatives and we're all making different things, then just because I make something that isn't to your bag or isn't to your flavour doesn't mean that that's wrong. But at the moment, there's lots and lots of people jumping on, that's wrong and that's right, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And, you know, we're supposed to be in this industry that's all inclusive,